Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners, across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight, we continue to shed a light on Uganda's economy, because what we have seen in the recent days in Kampala, especially the traders protesting the tax policy and the use of IFRIS, the electronic receipting system solution, it appears there's no solution coming in sight, and they continue to say they are paying through the nose. They want that revised. But also when you see the budget framework paper and the budget being revised, and when we also know that budget support is dwindling, it tells you that we are going through some kind of murky waters. Let me introduce my panel this evening, the Wednesday panel. From the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies, we have Mr. Godbert Mushabe. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Patrick. Good evening, our listeners.
Joining us online is Senior Presidential Advisor, Mr. Moses Biaruhanga. Thank you for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Patrick. Good evening, Godbert, and our listeners there.
Okay, so look, let me begin with you in the studio, Godbert. When you see traders protesting, when you hear the budget being revised, when you hear that the budget support is reducing, what does that tell you about our economy?
I think we need to understand that our economy is a small economy. It has been growing over the years, but the growth is not big enough to catapult it into where it should be. Because most of the projections, I think, including the National Development Plan 3, basically project that for us to get out of the situation we are in as a country, we are supposed to be growing in double digits. Double digits means that you are growing
11 or 10%
and above. Mm-hmm. Now, consistent as an economy, we've been growing within the range of 5-6%. Of course, like any other country, we were affected by COVID. We didn't do enough in terms of restructuring our governance, our economic, our strategic outlook to be able to really create a more dynamic response from the COVID pandemic. There were lots of facilities put here and there, but really you couldn't see that this is an organized response in terms of creating the necessary stimulus that can get the economy growing much faster. But secondly, the kinds of tensions you are seeing between URA and the traders, you really have to sympathize with URA because they have a hard job,
a big target.
I think, and I think it's the same problem with tax collectors everywhere. But in our case, you are having an agency that has to operate in a system that is more medieval. Because our economy is still a nature-based economy. It's still a very informalized economy, and therefore, and the traders have issues definitely because everybody who is participating in this economy in different ways. You feel the pain of an economy that is not growing, or that is growing at the top but not prodding at the bottom. So the traders have very, very legitimate grievances. URA is coming in with the IFRIS system, trying to computerize and do real-time monitoring of the taxes that you pay when you buy products. But as I've always said, there are certain things that government does, but my view is that they are not always well thought out. Because you are dealing with a very, very highly informalized economy down there in Chikubu and some of those suburbs. These are people. Remember that our people are mainly traders. They are not businessmen. people normally fail to differentiate between traders and businessmen. Traders, you are just trading products. You buy here, you sell, you make money. Businessmen are building ideas. These are business ideas you build. Now, you are dealing with the traders downtown. Some of them will wake up in the morning, they buy products here, they sell in the following, in the evening, they have finished their business. And you need them to come to computerize. Other than the literacy levels or the understanding of the system, you are dealing with the cost of having to establish or to be onboarded on the IFRS system.
But you're the same person who's saying our economy is too much informal.
Yes.
And the URA and the government is trying to formalize it.
No, you don't.
And bring in anybody on board.
No, that's the point. That's what I'm saying. That in my view, the way you approach this one is that you create a transition arrangement. In fact, even you as government, you would have to invest and create funding channels that enable business to transition into formalized businesses. So in other words, if I knew that I'm running a largely informalized economy, I need to put aside 500 billion, and we are creating incentives for companies that want to organize and put in place the infrastructure and on board the IFRS system. So we are spending on making sure companies graduate into the system. But you know, the one of sitting at the revenue house and say we want everybody to be on IFRS, we are giving you 6 months. I think that you basically it's like you are not understanding the environment.
Let me bring in here senior presidential advisor, Mr. Moses Biarhanga. When you look at the way, it looks like we have a problem with Biarhanga. We cannot get him online. Can you hear me? Hello? Looks like we don't have Moses online. But, you know, so would you say now, Godbear, the fundamentals of the economy, we are a majorly rural-based agricultural economy, and we're still producing, and we still have markets around us, Sudan, Eastern Congo, Rwanda, and Kenya. Basically, are we not still strong? Because that's what we're best at, good at, and that's and our market in the region and within.
No, we do so many things, but I don't think that we are not doing them in the big way. Because see, even when you say those of us who are involved in coffee, so your government comes up and said we want to increase coffee production from 5 million bags, 20 million bags.
Let me try. My producer has re-established connection with the senior presidential advisor Moses Biarhanga. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you can hear Patrick.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us, Moses. And you know, when you look at our country, would you affirmatively say the fundamentals of Uganda's economy are strong?
Yeah, they are strong. The fundamentals are strong. This question of the social structure, in your introduction, you mentioned that the donor support is reasoning. Some of it, if we collected the taxes as they are supposed to be collected, some of that donor support you may either not need it or you need so little of it. Now, the IFRS system, so the people who are confusing it as if there was a new tax increase or something like that, is a question of saying this is VAT mainly, but also embedded in it, if your sales are monitored, it means that when you're going to declare a return, at the end of the day, at least you may not know all your costs, but how much your costs be done by system, and then we know how much you can maybe charge you for income tax. So that's on the side. So on the PDP, if you're already within the VAT bracket of 110 million return of turnover for a year, and if you're not complaining, it means that you're going to be. So now, without being rounded up, you think you should take advantage and avoid it. I think, yes, there will be discussions here and there, but as far as saying that don't continue with taxing, that's not happening. installation, yes, you can take photo with installation or whatever, but everybody should know. One, any day of conflict, however, the payment of tax is mandatory. So if you are in that category or the tax is supposed to be charged at once.
Moses, you seem to be concluding that the traders would want, in a way, to evade or avoid taxes. You seem are you suggesting they don't want to use this because it's kind of exposing how they were evading tax?
Sure, that's a fact. Because why would you have a problem with it? If you are, because it's clear you are selling like this, you are charging exactly like this, so your tax which you have charged is reflected. So some people have been charging VAT, not necessarily traders down, but the other businesses, they don't remit it to URA for goods which are portable. And the category of those are there. So, this system is exposing everyone that if you are within the category of paying VAT, you should pay, and this is not your tax, it's the tax the final consumer. In fact, the person who should be complaining should be the one who buys from school or from these traders, because they are the final payers of the tax. For the traders, they're only collectors of the tax. So why should they complain? Not tax on them, it's tax on the final consumer. That is the VAT. It's a transaction tax. It's not something rental tax paid by, I don't know, something like that. But also, there are other issues that the tax is exposing the last one and then our studio.
Okay. Looks all right. Looks like we have lost the line to Moses. But look, Moses is saying, Godber, that for him it is concluded. The traders in Kampala would want to avoid the tax. This IFRIS is exposing them, and that's the issue. How would you respond to something like this? Is that the kind of feeling you have?
I think it's more than that. You see, so first of all, naturally, people would not want to pay tax.
Okay.
That's why you have seen even members of parliament passing legislation exempting some of their payments from tax. They exempt payments to judicial officers from tax. So no, just take it like that. That naturally people don't want to pay tax, or if there is a way they can avoid, they would avoid. Secondly, incidentally, when just to help our listeners understand that the VAT, which is the tax that is being streamlined under IFRIS, as a producer, as a manufacturer, as a trader, you are not the one paying the tax. That tax is paid by the final consumer. So, in other words, all you need to do is, if you are a manufacturer, you put VAT. It's paid by the person who has bought your product.
That's what Moses is saying. It's the people who are buying in Kikubu that should be protesting, not the trader.
Yes. So the supermarket will buy your products and they put VAT. Me as the final consumer, you are the final consumer, you buy. So what I think what people like Moses and people in government need to understand is that in most cases you have deep-seated grievances by people like within the business community and others. Normally they are deep-seated grievances. So something like IFRIS triggers those grievances. So in other words, in the majority of cases, you're not be dealing with IFRIS as the problem. No, you need to look back and see what are the problems that you are trying to deal with.
There's some deep-rooted concerns.
Some of them could be tax administration. Some of them could be the fact that some of the businesses are too small for you to start investing in buying a computer and then subscribing for internet. And you have to have good internet, by the way. It's not a business that is internet that is kwara.
But that's so more or less like a one-off.
Yeah, but you see what is the size of this person's business?
150 million.
150 million.
And to buy a computer?
I am not very sure because I don't know.
They already have them anyway. They already have them. Each one have the laptop.
Moses has arrived in the studio, another
The
one.
man has arrived with a lot of gusto.
They have them.
No, but,
so, gentlemen, hold your fire because you're going to take a break.
all right.
And the Hotseat will be right back. A mega break.
The man has landed and he just goes on milk. He can't even first work.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amar. Finally, Senior Presidential Advisor Moses Biaranga is with us in the studio. Thank you for making it. Good evening once again.
Good evening once again.
and good man. You know, Moses, in your other life, you're also a businessman.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, you have also described IFRIS as something that is good. It's an enabler of business, help you to keep your records and file your returns. What is it that among you people like you, business people like you, some of them they're saying, you know what, to hell with it?
No, as I've said, Godba mentioned that earlier that a lot of business in Uganda are informal. That's true. That's a fact. Now, through this system, you are getting formalized. So it's true. Maybe people who are supposed to be charging VAT don't charge it. There are those who charge and don't remit. Now, the system is exposing them. I don't know the sensitization when it took place. They said they were given 6 months. Now, I don't know how the sensitization was made. Let me just give you an example. When you travel outside, Kamara, you have traveled.
I have.
You go to a shop, they tell you this shirt is $20. Mm-hmm. You pull out either your card or money to cash to pay. They say no, it's 24. Say the 4 is tax. So the trader, the seller tells you their price minus tax.
Okay.
Meaning right here, if I come and say
I'm not even touching the $4.
It's not here. That's not their money. They will tell you this is $100, but it is 17 or 6% or whatever sales tax. For them, most of them call it sales tax, others VAT, whatever it is called. It's more or less the same.
I think even in Uganda on some receipts it is indicated.
Yeah, but not many. Maybe hotels and others they do. Others they don't. So they just now here it has been that you go something, it says you mitwale etano, and you bring out your mitwale etano and you pay, you get your good, and you go away. Now the mitwale etano in the tax message, it should imply that VAT is inclusive, meaning from the mitwale etano, 18% should go to URA. The alternative would be mitwale etano before VAT. In other words, you pay mitwale etano, then you add
50,000 plus something.
Yeah. That's what it should be.
18%.
So I don't know how the sensation was. That should have been it. That please, when you are giving your pricing, price before VAT. Or if you are going to include it, if you are going to tell the customer 50,000, if it is really inclusive of VAT, then you know that this is inclusive of VAT. But if it is not now, maybe the challenge could be, part of the sensitization is that somebody is being told, I sell this at 50,000. The fact now the 50 is inclusive of VAT means I have to sell less. I will get less. So, but in essence, that's what it should be. That when you travel, the price they tell is not what
you're going to pay.
Even when you go to a hotel, they say the room is $200. But when you are going to check out, it is $220. The 20 is for the tax. They will say that is for government. That's not mine. Yeah. So maybe there was not enough sensitization, or people didn't understand it. But here, people tell you a final price. Now, in a tax sense, that should be inclusive of VAT.
Okay, good, but could it also be that the sales are low, probably the purchasing power is getting weaker in Uganda, and so the trader is feeling it, and now they just want to blame something?
No, blame something. No, the blaming something is always there, but I think for me the way I interacting with many people, you feel like the economy is very, very severely stressed. The business people are going through a lot of stress. Those who are, I interact a lot with people in real estate. You see them, either people are being forced to sell properties, or you can't find buyers. When you interact with the people who do money lending for us, who borrow money from money lenders, they will tell you, hey, your banks, you can get money from there. You are joking. Eh? You have to have, if you are not a Gambanogo like Moses, you're not going to get that money that easily. But no, the point I'm making is that you have money lenders. We borrow money from money lenders. They tell you people are no longer they are no longer paying. They are not able to pay. So some of my colleagues have been saying, so now we have stopped the lending. So we are focusing on the recovery because it's clear that the cash flow in the economy is very stressed. So all that you can move it now to the business community, because if people are not accessing money, they don't have cash flows. So that means they are not really they are not buying. So you as a business person, you are feeling all this stress, and then the taxman arrives and say, Ifris, you have to do this, you have to do this. So you put all your frustrations on Ifris. For me, that's the way I can describe it.
This is what I'm saying, Moses. So there could be anger somewhere, frustration somewhere.
The other
you as the political leaders.
Sorry, Patrick. The other important policy matter that I think that Moses, people can attend to is this whole thing that when you have your VAT, you've filed returns, and you are demanding URA. Now URA says no, you can now discount this money from any future obligations. Now some of us who travel know that one of the easiest tax to process refunds is VAT. Because I've traveled to South Africa, you go and do your shopping, you reach the airport, once you clear you clear your flight, you go to the VAT refund, they process your money, either you give you a check or they wire your money. So it's as simple as that.
No, in those countries, the idea is to encourage exports. Basically, they are saying, since you are going out with this commodity or good, it's supposed to be tax-free as an export. That's why they do the fund, because if you are in,
but it's a tax.
No, it's tax refund. You see, because we didn't know that you're going to go out. So, and for their policy is like Uganda, we don't tax exports. So the idea there is, yes, we are funding it because you are exporting, you are taking it out of the country. But if you are to stay in South Africa with that good, you don't go and claim it. You want to claim
no. I'm talking about the returns.
No.
Yeah.
Returns in in tax language. Yeah. Returns means at the end of the year or the period how much you have sold and for cost, and to determine how much your cost.
Yes.
But the VAT return here being talked about is refund. Is that, you see, like, let me give you an example. When you buy a good at say 50,000 shillings, and the VAT, and minus VAT, when you add on 18%, it's supposed to be 5,900. Now, if you are going to resell that commodity at say 70,000, and then you add on VAT of 18%, the new VAT will be 12,600. But for you paid 9,000. So you're supposed to deduct from the 12,500. Supposed to deduct the 9,000.
Actually, Moses is crunching the numbers in the computer. Okay. I thought I should tell the viewers, the listeners. So you are also now crunching the numbers. Unfortunately, the listeners are not saying this, but okay.
No. The VAT here supposed to return to pay to URA is supposed to be 6,500 because because you had already paid VAT. Now the 12,500 is supposed to go to URA. They're supposed to return to you your 9,000. Now here the way traders are saying that return my input VAT. It takes long.
The response I was
wait, let me finish. It takes long than expected. So sometimes since URA has already received it, they say, okay, in your new tax obligation we shall deduct it. That's, I think, that's wrong.
And that's
The response I also want from you, Moses,
that's wrong.
Is what,
but no, what Godba is saying that if you are in a country which has a policy of not taxing exports, so the people getting out of that country, if you have bought goods, you go even in Dubai, there's a desk where you go for tax claim. You show them the goods you have bought, and you fill in the form. Then they return the tax either on your card or they send to you to your account or through the email or something like that. That's what God was explaining. But the other one is as a trader, I have input VAT, I have output VAT. So at the end of the day, when I do a balance, the one I paid when I was buying those commodities before reselling them is supposed to be returned to me in a given period. But now sometimes URA says, as you mentioned, Kamara, that at your tax obligation, next, if you're maybe paying income tax, we shall write it off because they don't want to send you, they don't have cash to send to you. That's not right.
It's wrong.
Those are things we should be correct. But it should not stop the payment of taxes.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take a mega milk break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight, Godbatu Mushabe and Moses Biaruhanga. And we're discussing the impasse between traders and the URA, but also the state of the economy. Before you came in here, Moses, probably you had the comment of Godba that they could be having some other underlying frustrations, really, because if this is an enabler, supposed to make their work easier, they shouldn't be up in arms now. As government, as senior presidential advisor, have you looked at the possibility that there are many others issues concerning with the traders, and this just seems to be a trigger? Maybe you look deeper.
I agree with you, but even this one, it's not that it's only a catalyst. I mean, it's something which sparked it off. As I said earlier, IFRIS is exposing the business sector. One, it's on that tax. As I said, people they give you a final price. They don't know the price they are giving you is inclusive of VAT, and many have not been remitting that VAT to URA. That's a fact. In fact, they would end up like the final payers of the tax. They don't know. The fact this tax is helping them recover the one you paid. If you are buying from Coca-Cola, for instance, some crates of soda, the crate will have an input VAT. If you are reselling it, you're supposed to claim that VAT. It was higher than one you paid, so you are supposed to be refunded to you. So it should be that good, but because they are not being used to it, I think they think it's something bad. Now, secondly, on tax, at least all your if it's compliant, all your sales are captured by URA. If you have sold 200 million in a month and in a year maybe you have sold 2 billion, now tomorrow when you are filing tax returns,
it's easier for you.
No, not only easier. You cannot say I sold the 1 billion while it is 2 billion. So people have been under declaring. They under declare what were their total sales. They even sometimes increase the costs so that what is profit is less than that what is taxed. But now, at least on the cost, on the sales side, it will be clear how much you have sold. You can't under declare the sales. You can increase your costs but if some of those costs will have also IFRIS receipts. If you bought, if you did it for, now, so basically, much as it's exposing you for VAT issues, it's also exposing you for income. That's what it's not being said for income tax. That will be very difficult this time to underdeclare income tax. Now, but on other issues which have been underlying issues affecting traders, yes. I told you last week when I was here, because we discussed the same topic, that when, for instance, traders pay rent to the landlords, or those are in those arcades, you pay a rent of say 2 million in a shop. That's average price of shops around downtown there. They give you a receipt of 500,000 or even less, and then you complain and say, is there anybody going to chase you out of the shop? You go. So you are now. How do the landlord or trader landlord? The landlord he benefits because when he's going to declare, he says he received less income Because for a shop which has a building which has 100 shops at 2 million per
So
shop,
on the rental income, it will show that he got little.
it goes little.
And then he pays smaller
amount of tax. But now he's supposed to give out an implicit receipt also. It will show you paid 2 million. Because this gentleman you not pay him, he will not pay you 2 million, and you give him an implicit receipt of 500,000. So it's also exposing the big people.
Okay.
Downtown, that now your rental income will you not dodge it. We shall be able to deduct for you to pay the correct amount. Now now for the smaller the bundle around renting in the shop. When they give, because they are going now to file their returns. If we put in a receipt of 500,000, it will mean he paid the less rent. In which case his cost will be much lower than the actual. So he would really be overtaxed for nothing. So they would have to disclose that. Maybe my rent was 2 million, not 500,000, the one I gave my landlord. So the landlords are being exposed. The other issue is now in those shops you find that it has about, say, 4 lights, 4 bulbs. Now the landlords charge each bulb about 50,000 per month. So you have 4 bulbs in a shop, they are charging you 200,000.
Which should be a lot of money.
Without money. One time I even called the engineer Abe from, hope he's listening in, from Umeme. I asked him, these bulbs, he said they calculated the volt, the volts they use. He said that one shouldn't be beyond 8,000 shillings, one bulb. But here you're paying 50,000 for a bulb which is not consuming more than 10,000 shillings of energy, of power a month. Mm-hmm. And so all those are now will have to be exposed that if you're paying, it's now the traders have those concerns. Why doesn't Umeme put yak accounts in those shops? The landlords they resist that because it will reduce their income. Because the traders will be paying for themselves directly the power.
Good, but there is a new word in town. It's called the Kuyiriba. I don't know what they've heard about.
What is that?
Kuyiriba is actually what he's talking. You know, being the local ingenuity of making business in town, but also sometimes you want to cut costs, you want to cut corners. You know, there's the way how business is run in Kampala. You can come up with a certain app, but if it does not address the Kuyiriba concept.
No, but you see, they say, without due respect, I think for me...
Let me also conclude it. You are selling some, you're in a shop, and the customer comes, you don't have that particular thing, you have to go to shop number X, you bring it to him, you know, that's what they call Kuyiriba. You're trying to improvise here and there, and we find that such technology will not deal with such.
Yeah, but... as I said, we're an informal economy. And by the way, we are also an informal government. Even the government is so informalized.
You see?
Yeah. So you've seen the way people, the kinds of the people who make decisions in this country. You can have the Moseses who are the formal, but they're also the informal.
There are some people with them de facto power.
Absolutely, yeah. So those also have their power. So the point I'm trying to make is that as a country, as a government, as a country, we've not been able to organize ourselves and begin to be more systematic in the way we do things. Because you see the mentality of the you call it what?
Kuyiriba.
That mentality. I think I know the Kuyiriba. That mentality pervades our thinking and our actions and our operations, from government to private businesses to individuals to Kuyiriba. Because you see, when you see the kind of way, let's say, of the border, the way the borders are cutting across corners and junctions and jumping traffic lights, and now we even have motorists, the vehicle drivers who no longer stop at traffic lights. So it's basically you are dealing with an entire mindset of people who are queer, because that's the only way you have to survive. The conditions in which you're operating are so hostile that even on the road you have to queer. If you don't queer, you are not moving. If you are a taxi driver and you don't go here and cut around, you will not, a day will end, you have not made money. So that pervades our operations and conduct as a people. So that's why I started by saying you have to really sympathize with the team at URA that we are asking them to do a job in a Kwea economy, because things are not that they are not easy. If we are an organized economy and people feel like government is helping them to do things and there are incentives for you to even formalize your business, then it would be easy for the tax collector, because the environment is enabling. So I always give credit to the team at the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. If you compare the way when the company registered with the Under Minister of Justice, and then you would spend like 3 months and 6 months you are trying to register a business.
I hope they don't want to take it back like it is.
No, I hope they are not. But now you can incorporate the business in probably less than 24 hours. And you are just doing this online, you don't have to go and queue, then it enables you as an entrepreneur to think of incorporating your business. But if incorporation of a business was that difficult, then I have to be there thinking how much the struggle that I'm going to go to. I'll have to be planning. If I go this time, there is a line at URSB. So that's what I'm saying, that the government need to be able to create a system that inherently looks organized. Right now, we are running a government that everything just looks disorganized. Because I always draw on some of these examples. So you go to Parliament and you see how the Speaker Anita Mung is talking about to her MPs. These are MPs. They are honorable. She's a Speaker. Then she's talking to them like these are herdsmen and herdsboys. So it's that mentality that is really, for me, is that you have to think at it at that level. So don't look at traders and say, oh, they are refusing to onboard on IFRIS. No, you are dealing with a bigger problem.
You gave that, and I remembered reading a book written by a man called Tom Stacy. It's called Entitled Tribe. And he was talking about Uganda. And then anytime we'd hear people talking about honorable, but in our language and how to pronounce it sounds like horrible.
Okay, yeah, horrible. Yeah, seriously. So you are dealing with that. So you are dealing with an embedded problem. And so the strike and the closure of the shops, for me, are manifestations of a deeper problem than just IFRIS.
So the deeper problem is what? Because Moses is here, government is here. So there's a deeper problem, Moses.
No, Moses doesn't think so. I don't think he thinks so.
No, I've told you the challenge. The traders have challenges. There's no doubt about it. And most of them are to do, especially with KCCA, like the issues I've already raised. Even URA have been having those challenges of especially the rent the traders pay to the landlords and the receipts they get. There was some little bit of connivance at some levels, but definitely government has been getting less revenue, less rental revenue from those buildings down there. I think there's a time I was talking to Mr. John Msing, who is the Commissioner General URA. He mentioned he had done some audit. I think only for about 5 or so plazas were passing. The others were all paying below what they should expected to pay. So I said this system is exposing them. At the same time, so you even don't know who is behind the strike. They could be the bigger ones could be, because for them it affects them much more than what you would call smaller with inverted commas. But yes, people need sensitization about how the system works and how it should work. If you have been dodging taxes, nobody is saying pay the arrears, but you're going forward, you should know that the tax has to be paid. As I said, at the end of the day, the VAT is paid by the consumer.
The final consumer.
When I'm selling Mega Milk, it is not me, the seller, who is paying the tax. It is you, Kamara, buying it, who is paying that tax. So if it was a question of people concerned about the tax, it should be the buyers, not the one who are selling to them.
We're going to take another mega milk break. And when we come back, Moses, I want also to raise the issue I've heard from traders that the mode of enforcement of IFRIS, that sometimes URA team goes down and they want to get taxes on the barrel of the gun. And that for them is also a big issue. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My guest this evening, Godba Tumushabe and Mr. Moses Biarhanga. We are discussing the impasse between traders and URA and the state of Uganda's economy. Before we took a break,
I think, Patrick, we should get the benefit from this message that came in from one of the traders.
Okay.
Yeah, who is saying that one of the issues that is creating this, the traders think that there is a likelihood that they are the big people, the untouchables, who will not be onboarded on IFRIS. And therefore, they will be able to undersell them. So that's what I was talking about. I say when the things they are too much here, then people do not trust the system, and then it generates its own resistance. And that's something that you may not discount.
No, you see, I will discount it. I will discount it. You see, with this tax regime, because those ones they say that we're calling big people, where do they buy from? Wherever they are buying from, they are being given IFRIS invoices. It is in their interest to be on board on IFRIS system so that they claim the tax they paid. Otherwise, they become the final payers of that tax.
No, we had here a company run by your party. It closed because it was not paying taxes.
But because the tax was still informal. Now, you see, now there's the point I'm making. If you are going to import goods, if you are going to do everything, and everything is captured, you see, that's why for digitalization of the economy is important. You're talking about URBS. URSB, incorporating a company.
Yeah.
What has helped all that is because they are now going to digital.
Absolutely.
So
without a doubt.
Is doing it digital.
Yeah.
So whoever is trying to avoid this is creating problems for themselves. So the formalization will have to take place. So that person who is a trader who sent that message, let him rest assured. If they get cases of those before you call the big people out who will be underselling them, let them point them out.
What do you make of their complaints of looking for taxes with guns, and they find it that very unbecoming? It's a complaint in downtown. It's a complaint they've raised.
You see, the question is, if you are paying taxes, no gunman will come to you. So the most important thing is compliance. I've had the complaints that the tax enforcement people are on people's in the Kikubo. They see the buyers, the customers, and come and say, okay, where do you buy this from? Which receipt did they give you? Yes, as a beginning, they are doing that to ensure that you are compliant. If they find this person as an IFRIS receipt, they just move on. But if they don't have, and then you are supposed to have given it, so the problem is you, not them, not the enforcer. It is you who has dodged it. So you don't want it to be followed up. So the problem is the one who is trying to dodge. So if you have sold a commodity and you are supposed to be giving an IFRIS receipt and you have not done so, and this enforcer comes and finds Kamaro has bought from your shop and say, you sold Kamaro this cup, you didn't give him the IFRIS receipt, what happened? And then you say, these people are bad. Then you go on strike. Really?
Is there also a possibility, Godba, that maybe the taxpayers and generally the people in Kampala feel there's a problem with the tax, with the service delivery, and because of that, in another way, they want to express themselves. You're driving through roads that are full of potholes, services that are not as expected. So this could also be another form of protest.
No, I mean, that's why I say there are underlying issues. IFRIS, the protest around IFRIS is, for me, is like a manifestation of the grievances that are held by traders and other people. If you went and did an opinion poll in this town and say, who of these the Ugandans in this town support the strike by traders, you could easily find a lot of support, because again, the same Ugandans are feeling have the same grievances. So that's why I'm saying that One is that the government should not have left these grievances to escalate to a point where the traders say we are closing our businesses, because they haven't done it like overnight. What are those issues that government can fail to resolve to a point where traders close their businesses? So I think that there's a governance problem there in terms of the grievances, how the government is able to respond to the issues that are raised and resolve them. So there are more questions than answers. So I wouldn't want to take just the simple thinking that traders just do not want to pay tax, so that's why they don't want to go to on board on IFRIS. I think that a government would be able to sit back and look at this more methodically. The grievances, some of the issues that are raised, I think they can be sorted. Sometimes you can still give people transition periods. Make sure that those who are not able to put in place the infrastructure for compliance can put the infrastructure. The government should also be looking at incentives, by the way, because you can't tax, because you see, at this moment, when you've seen the kinds of stories about corruption, the stealing that was happening there in the parliament, the unfulfilled promises of hospitals, like all this information goes into the public.
Okay.
And so, me here, I'm struggling to survive on my small business, and I am being stressed with the tax. So the grievances are there, and they need to be addressed from that perspective.
The traders need to be handheld. The traders need to be sensitized. Do you get a feeling that maybe the sensitization was not done well? Because as they take baby steps with this IFRIS, you need to handhold them.
I said that. I want to repeat myself. I said, first of all, here in Uganda, when somebody says something is 10,000, it looks that's the final price. When you're outside the country, somebody says this is $10. It doesn't. The $10 don't include anybody. But when you're going to pay, you pay like 12. The 2 is for the tax.
Okay.
Now, here, somebody is being told the price you are mentioning is the final price before it's inclusive of VAT. Or when you say 10,000, add on VAT of 18%, who comes to 1,800. Now that the people need to be sensitized on that. So when you are pricing, you have your price before VAT. Then you add on VAT, because that's not your money. It's going to the government. So that could be sensitization issues. How do you claim? How do you do this? And that. So I said earlier that I don't know what forms of sensitization was carried out and in what way, for how long. At least not on radios, because at least I listen to KFM many times when I'm in my car. I have not had such a kind, apart from when you host some people from URA on this show.
They come here on Thursday sometimes.
Yeah, well, apart from that, but I haven't. They have come now during the time of the strike. But before that, if they had in the 6 months, if they were using it every Thursday, because I listen a lot of KFM, I don't remember having that being talked about in that period of 6 months, preparing the people. Maybe on other stations, I don't know. Okay. But so. If the question was give us more time in terms of sensitization, but we are willing to pay, they continue, I wouldn't mind that. But to say forget about it, I don't think that's possible. It's not feasible. How do you calculate? How do you do this? Fine. How enforcement? Yes, it's supposed to, if the moment the tax is there, it must be enforced. Because if the same people who complain, they said for us we are compliant, others are not compliant. You have left them. So how would URA get those who are not compliant? They have to be staff during this time of enforcement. At a time when everybody is on board, then that high-handedness, I'm sure, will be stopped.
Okay. Gentlemen, in the interest of time, each one of you, I'm beginning with you, Godbert, give us your concluding remarks.
Now, I just wanted to share again someone who shared the message here and said the 6 million penalty for one receipt is very punitive. Huh? Yeah, because sometimes you can also you can also create those, and I like Moses' point about prohibitive penalties. But sometimes when penalties are too punitive, they can also produce a negative effect. Yeah, so that's something still that could be looked at.
That's why I agree.
Yeah.
The penalties can be reduced.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The most important thing is let the people pay.
Yeah.
If they need more sensitization, I don't mind the time to be extended, but the importance of tax, you can't avoid it.
Okay, so let people pay. Let government become more responsible. Let it become more frugal, because Ugandans are shouldering the burden of corruption, of misuse of public funds, of a broken service delivery system, and a huge burden of public administration. And so any Ugandan anywhere, I think the grievances are well founded until government, the people in the government understand that the taxpayer who is shouldering this burden is actually breaking their back. Then these grievances definitely are going to, they are likely actually to escalate.
All right, thank you, Godba. Moses, your parting shot.
Well, I want to respond to Godba to also to be aware that some people in government also pay taxes, and more than others.
At least they have opportunities to steal the taxes.
No, that's not true.
They pay and steal some of it, and they are better than us.
That's not true. That's not true.
But are there some who steal the...
There's a tendency for people to assume that those in government don't pay taxes. That's not true. Many people in government do.
At another show, I will explain this to you.
Many people in government do businesses, and those businesses pay taxes. In fact, you find that somebody, the businesses they are doing and the taxes they are doing are almost paying what they get in government.
All right. Moses Yarhanga, Senior Presidential Advisor, and Godbert Mushabe from the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies. Gentlemen, I want to thank you, and more importantly, you, the listener, we also want to thank you for the privilege you have given us to be with us for this 1 hour.
Live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m.